In this video, I just want to give you an overview of the work that goes with Unit 3. So down at the bottom, you'll see an overview. There's two parts to the Unit 3. The first is to spend some time with doing an idea brainstorm. And for this, I'd like you to come up with three pretty different topics rather than sort of three shades of gray of a single topic. So for an elementary school teacher, you might have one topic that's on parent-teacher communication. You might have another topic that's on math fluency, and you might have another topic on behavior management strategies. For each of your three topics, you're going to give a short sort of anecdote or an observation that you've noticed. Why do you think it's an issue? What indications that something's kind of going on with this? What could get better, or has promise and you want to study it more? Why does it matter for students? And that doesn't mean that your data has to come from students. It can be things about parent-teacher communication, but how does that relate to better outcomes for students is what you'd want to explore. Then thoughts around what factors or variables might be contributing to the complexity of the issue. How does the topic connect to your professional goals? And then I want you, for each of the topics, to kind of think through a quantitative design and a qualitative design. So I've done an example here for a single topic. Remember, you'll do three of these. So again, some narrative up top, and then a quantitative and a qualitative piece. When you turn this into Google Classroom, this is the document that you'll work in. Feel free to kind of cut the sample out of this one here, and that will help us start to launch the conversation on Saturday, March 10th, when we meet, as you really start to think about what's the topic that you want to study. Again, none of these commits it in stone. It's really a chance to just start brainstorming topics that are from some different areas, and then we'll focus it in as we move further into the class. So that's part one for this week, or for this unit. Part two is to sort of work with some of the content from the readings. So what I have given you here is a whole set of research questions, and what you'll do down before is you'll just list here, which questions do you think are quantitative, and you can just use the letter in the box. So you might say you think question N is quantitative. So you would list out all the ones you think are quantitative, all the one qualitative. If you can guess at any that are mixed methods, I realize we haven't done the kind of in-depth reading on that piece. And then which question do you think is the strongest, and which question do you think is the weakest? Question two should be fairly self-explanatory. It's using one of the cases that we looked at in class last time, and just having you think through some sampling and ground that in the qualitative chapters that you read. So you'll craft that into a paragraph. Then I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of practice with some qualitative data. So you've got 3 interview transcripts here. And then you're going to come up with 10 to 20 codes, things that you believe you see in the data. And again, use chapter 8 here to guide your work. I've given you the pages from the Creswell text that will be most valuable for this. And then as you look at holistically the 3 transcripts, what do you see as 3 to 4 themes from this small set of data? And for each theme, you're going to kind of write it out as a narrative for someone who's not read the transcripts, and you're going to try and include one participant quote that's under 40 words that's reflective of that theme for you. All right, so your response will go here. And then for question 4, this is going to be a bridge between part 1, where you started to look at your topics, and this part here, which is finding qualitative research. So you're going to find a high quality research study relevant to one of the 3 topics you wrote about in part 1 of your assignment. Down below is figure 9.7. It's sort of a reproduced version of it from the Creswell text. Again, what are the features of a high quality qualitative study? So here you're just going to tell me which of the 3 topics were you looking at, what were your search terms, what database did you find it in, which database do you feel most comfortable using now. You're going to do an APA citation for the article, and this time, again, we're going to work with lots of different ways of sense making from the articles. So far you've practiced an annotation, you've practiced doing the video, and this time we're going to do what's called a research rendering and questions, where you're going to try and make sense of the article and translate it really from that research speak into a more practitioner's terms. So it's 250 words maximum, and then you're going to write 2 to 4 further questions that's sparked by the reading that might engage people in your educational setting to think about this topic. So I've given you a sample of what a research rendering and question looks like. So here's the research rendering in terms of the 250 word kind of analysis of the article. And then down here are 3 potential questions that might, might be worth discussion in your community about this topic. So the research rendering you can just write into this document right here, and then the further questions, again, you can do that. So I am asking that you submit the work for this unit on Wednesday, the 7th of March, which I realize is a little bit atypical, but that will give me time to take a look at it and use the work that you've done up to this point to really help inform our day on the 10th. So again, you've got about 2.5 weeks with vacation in there to submit this work so that we'll be ready to meet on March 10th and keep moving with both the content of our course and then also working towards identifying a problem of practice that you want to investigate. So don't hesitate if there's questions, and really look forward to starting to see some of the ideas that are hatching that you want to look at.